Hello, welcome to lesson 1 in our GIMP tutorial. Today we're just going to go through GIMP and get a little bit more familiar with it and how it works. So these here are some of the tools that we're going to be looking at. We'll look at some of those today and some of those in some other lessons. So first of all, we need an image to play with. So I'm just going to open an image from my computer. I'm just going to click on this boat here, which is quite nice. And then we'll go through some of these tools. So the first thing we're going to look at is the size of the image and resizing it. So if you look at the top here, you can see that this image is 500 by 374 pixels, and you can change that. If you click on image and scale image, you can then change the size of the image. So we can make it 250, and it will automatically keep the ratio. And we'll just scale, and you can see that it's now changed to 250 by 187. Now if there's anything that you do that you don't want to do, you wish you hadn't done, you just click on edit and undo, and it will go back to how it was. Now if we just go back to image and scale image again, you could also pick centimeters, millimeters or meters or whatever you like. You can click on say centimeters, and then you can change the size to whatever size you want it to be printed out at. So if you wanted to make it say 2 centimeters, and it will keep the ratio again, scale it, and then it'll print out at that size. Again, we can undo that, get it back to how it was. Another useful tool is the rectangle select tool. If you press the left mouse button, you can then drag the mouse across and create a rectangle shape on your image, and then once you let go, you can then do things with the area you've selected. For example, you could choose the pencil. Now if I was to try and draw by pressing the left mouse button anywhere outside of that area, it won't do anything at all, but once I go in to the area that I've selected, then it will colour it in. If we just undo that again, you could also cut that area. So if we go edit, cut, and we could then open a new image. We can then paste the area that we just cut. Now if we go back and undo that, and then select none, it will get rid of the area that we just selected. Another useful select tool is this one here, which is the free select tool, and this one allows you to select various different shapes. So you could actually, by pressing the left mouse button, I can actually go around and cut out this boat if I wanted to. Now we're not going to do it too accurately, so I'm just going to go around really quickly just to show you. So I'll just keep pressing the left mouse button, and then you go around all the way until you go back to the start, and then you double click in the middle, and then you can do the same things. You can edit and cut, and then if you wanted to, you could start a new picture, and then you could paste that into the new picture. Okay, so let's go back here and edit and undo that cut. You then have to undo the free select, and you're back to where we started. Okay, now when you want to select colours, you've got two blocks here, and you can easily switch between them. If you're working on something you want to use in a couple of colours, you can just easily switch between them. And to change colour, you just click on the block, and it'll take you through to the palette here, and you can just select on different areas of the different colors available here, and then within each one you can change how dark it is. You can change various aspects of each one to get the color that you want. And what happens is every time you change the color, it changes the HTML notification here. Now this is the number that relates to the particular color that you're using, and you'll get to know on some of the colors that you use a lot. Like I use on Ginger Moose, I tend to use an orange, which I know is FA6217, and that is a sort of orange that I use a lot of. White is FFF, and black is all zeros, 0000000. Okay, and you can obviously change how dark or light each of the colors you choose is. Red, a good red is EE0000. Okay, and you'll get to know various codes on each colour. If you don't really need to, of course, you just will get to know them as you use colours you use a lot. But once you found a colour that you like, you may well need this code when you use that colour in a website, for example. If you're looking at the code of a website, and you can then input this code here to change the color of certain things on that website. Now, your little useful little tool here is this little pipette. If you click on there, then the next time you click on something, it could anywhere, it could be on a website, could be on an image that you like, it will give you the code for that particular color of the area that you just selected. So in this case, I just selected on part of this image in the background, and that's the code that it's given me. Okay, let's just cancel that. Okay, another useful little tool is this bucket here. Now if we started a new image and then we say made a little shape, let's just make a square, we can use the bucket and we just choose the color that we want. So let's say we're going to use a red, okay, and then just click anywhere in the area that we've just selected, it will change it to that color. Now if I was to do the same thing with an image, now an image like this is made up of thousands and thousands of tiny pixels, and they all vary in color just slightly. Now if I was to click this image anywhere, what it would do is color in the pixel that I selected and all the ones that are next to it that are of the same color. So if I do it like that, there you go, it's colored in all the pixels that are of the same color that were touching the one that I selected. Okay, so let's just undo that. Another useful tool is the eraser, which is this one here. And now when I click and hold down the left button on my mouse and rub over the image, it'll give it a sort of very thin layer of a color. Now the color that it will give it is the one at the bottom of these two, and how thick that color is will depend on the opacity that you have on here. So if I was to make the opacity 100%, and then I went over with this eraser, pressing down the left button, it would make the whole thing white. Okay, now if I just edit and undo that, now if I was to make that opacity down to, let's say, 25% or so, if I can actually do it, there we go, so say about 25%, did it again, you see it doesn't make the whole thing quite so white, it just makes it sort of like a thin layer. And now you could then let go of your mouse and do it again, and it won't go over the same area twice, so long as you've got the button, your left button, held down. Okay, so I can go over this a million times now and it won't make it any worse until I let go of the button, press it down again, then it will. Okay, now if you don't want it to be white, you can change that color. So let's just undo, just Control Z Z Z and go back to where we were. That's one too far again. Okay, so if let's make this color, let's make it black. Okay, black is 6 zeros. Okay, right, and make it at the bottom, make sure it's at the bottom, and then click the mouse again and go over it like this. Makes it a little darker. Now that can be quite useful. Let's do it a second layer, and maybe one more time. Okay, now that can be quite useful because then you can put some copy over the top. If you wanted to write over the top of this image but it was full of lots of colours, you could give it this sort of treatment, and then when you wrote over the top, those letters will be nice and clear so long as they were in contrast to the dark colour that's there now. Okay, so let's just undo that, get back to where we were. Okay, now the next thing I want to show you is the zoom. So if you click on View and then go down to Zoom, we're currently on 100% of the image size. You could go up to 1600%. Let's go to 800% and then make click on the pencil and make the size down to 1 and the opacity up to 100%. We could then select individual pixels and color them in. Now if we wanted to make some really detailed changes to an image, you could really zoom in and make little changes like this. And I use this quite a lot actually. You'd be surprised maybe when you're doing some real detail on a logo or something like that and you want to get it just right, then this can be quite handy. And if we were to zoom back out again on this particular example, back to 100%, you can just see the detail that we've changed there. So it can be really useful if you want to make really detailed changes. Okay, the next thing I'm going to show you is how to add copy to this image. So if you click on the letter A there and click and hold the left button on your mouse and then drag out a box, and then you can type your copy. So I'm just going to type, this is a boat. Okay, now if you highlight that copy, you can then change it. So let's change the color. Click on the color there, and I'm going to select a dark gray. Click OK, and highlight the font and delete that. And if you type the first letter of any font that you might want, it'll come up with a list of fonts that start with that letter. I quite like Railway, so I'm going to click on that. I'm going to justify it left as well, just to make it a little easier, and I'm going to change the size to, say, around 36-ish. Now to move the copy, you need to drag out the sides of this box. Okay, so I'm just going to drag it up to there. I want it to go a bit more into the corner. Now it's a bit too far. I'll go back a bit and come down a bit. Okay, and then you can click off, and then if you click on image and flatten, that will merge all the layers that you've got going on there at the moment. Okay, and there is your title. Okay, the final thing I'm going to show you this lesson before I give you some homework is this one here. This is the crop tool, and it is really handy. And basically you set left button down on your mouse and hold it and drag out a box, and this will select an area. If you then let go, the darkened area you will lose. Okay, if you wanted to crop out something, and the bit that's highlighted is what will remain. You just press return and it will get rid of what wasn't in that original box. So we can do it again, make it smaller, crop tighter to this boat. Okay, you wouldn't really want to do this because it wouldn't look so good, but there you go, and then you could crop down. For homework, that dreaded 8-letter word, I want you to download an image of a car off the internet and crop into the front wheel area like this. Then I want you to darken the image like that, add a blue block in the corner, zoom into colour in the wheel, orange, and add some copy at the bottom. Okay, if you do all those things, you'll have a better chance of remembering everything that we've gone through in this lesson. Okay, I hope you enjoyed all that. I will see you again next week. Okay, bye for now.